Nice about flipping is that you have multiple sources that you're getting comprehension from. You have the videos, you have the readings, you have the in-class sources as well. In terms of interaction, it's meaningful because you're interacting even more with your peers than you would, as well as with the teacher, because the teacher has more time, instead of just giving the lecture, but to go around and to listen and to intervene when there are moments that students need you to intervene to answer a question or to make a correction, etc. Or to have even a mini lesson about something, right? And then critical thinking skills. So a lot of what flipping does is it has you start doing tasks and or project-based learning in the classroom with English language. And the whole point behind task-based learning and project-based learning is it engages Bloom's taxonomy, if you're familiar with that, and the higher skills. I think Mike talked about that a few weeks ago, where you want students to be evaluating. You want them to be analyzing and synthesizing and getting to the point of creation, which is the highest one. So a lot of them are intellectually challenging and get you thinking using the higher levels. So how it fits into a classroom, you have two elements. This was taken from Yu Jung Han. You have educational technology and learning through activity. Those are the two elements that you have in the flipped classroom. The educational technology is what they're doing at home, right? And in some cases, if you are using it in the class as well as part of the project. So an example of this would be like Google Site and Google Voice, and having the students using that, watching, going to the Google Site to do quizzes and practice activities, and or watching videos that you've posted, maybe from YouTube, explaining different grammar points or topics, etc., etc. And this is a meaning-focused, it's hard to see that, but that says meaning-focused and language-focused input. So they're getting both meaning and language, and they're getting it, right? Over here, with learning through activity, all of these are cooperative activities. So most of the time they're going to be in pairs or small groups. And you have, again, meaning-focused output and fluency development. So you see it's very balanced. You have the input and the output. It's meaningful, so the students are engaged. It's more likely they're going to be able to remember the information and their use of the language and how they used it. And you have the opportunity to focus on fluency development and how and if they're able to use English and encourage the use of English in class. So that is how you flip the classroom in terms of the two elements that you have to take into consideration when doing so. So finally, I've already mentioned these because these were part of the earlier question. Simple ways to flip. So how we can do this tomorrow if we wanted to. Very easy. This was from the Robin from Berkeley. So she said that you can assign the ESL textbook materials as homework and apply and or discuss how the strategies work in class. You can find online lectures or readings and assign those as homework, and in class you're doing practice activities or projects based on tasks, because maybe projects are long-term, tasks would be more reasonable because they could be completed within the time period of the class itself. But these are things that you could start doing already. You know, collecting lectures, going through like 15 minutes every Saturday, find a new lecture, watch it, decide if you like it or you don't like it, and start collecting them. And then she also had that students can read papers outside of class and then apply the reading strategies in class when they get back, or draft sections of their own papers also in class. So these are some ways to flip now to kind of practice to get students used to doing things differently. So you're training them, basically. Okay. Questions, comments, or concerns? No? So I hope that wasn't too heavy, especially the first part. But I thought that there was a lot going on at AAAL this year that I thought was very meaningful and is helpful to start a discussion about in our academic communities. And I think, like I said, flipping is more and more popular every year, and so I think that this will eventually find its way into your classroom. The more familiar you are with it, the better placed you'll be if it comes to pass that we're all flipped. Okay, so if you have no questions, comments, or concerns, thank you very much for your attention. As I mentioned, next week we will have independent learning as the topic. We've already talked a little bit about that, and it's the same time, right, 4 each day, or is there a webinar?
No,